Welcome to the May 24th, 2018 episode of Reactive Consciousness, our in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I am your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And PyroJackFrost.
And whoa, Vice got the intro right in his first try. There's the payoff from Tuesday. We got it. It's victory.
It wasn't even a little awkward, where I was like, hey, good enough. Good enough. It was like pop goes perfection. Wow.
Yeah, wow goes perfection.
Oh man, we should do an episode on like classic board games we liked as a kid. We should definitely do that.
That would be pretty fun.
Podcast? Getting into trouble. Oh,
it's fun.
Sorry.
Don't wake Daddy. Oh wait,
yes.
we're already doing this now, aren't we?
Yeah, it's too late.
Lupin Louie. I always liked
Wow.
Yeah, man. So anyway, we have a few pretty juicy topics, I would say here, but one of the first ones we were going to go over isn't very controversial, but I think it's just something that I think all three of us have some major interest in. So Dark Souls Remasters is coming out, and it's coming out for several platforms. It's coming out for pretty much everything, right?
Yep.
PS4, Steam, probably the one. I think it's the one, and the Switch.
Yeah. So,
Nintendo's getting a Dark Souls game.
So all four major platforms are getting it. So that's unusual. I don't think it's ever come out on everything all at once. So
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so this is really awesome. The major disappointment is I wasn't able to get in on that sweet amiibo.
Wait, there's an amiibo? Oh, is it the sun guy?
I forgot about that. Yeah, Solar, Praise the Sun.
Yeah,
I totally forgot about that.
Its functionality is really funny. It just gives you the Praise the Sun emote. But,
yeah, it's kind of amusing.
I just want it because it's funny. But I actually something I forgot to mention in CoreCon. I did pick up 2 amiibos this week.
Oh, which 2?
And I picked up Marth. He's one of the very few Fire Emblem ones that I still need. I want to get all the Fire Emblem ones. I don't have the double pack that came out for the remake of Fire Emblem Gaiden. I forget what it's called. But yeah, though I don't have that double pack, so I'll be sure to still look out for that. But I also the big one that I got was Boo. Boo is pretty rare, and I was really surprised to see it at the store I was at. It glows in the dark, which is pretty neat. It's
that's pretty cool, actually.
Amiibo
how about
in that regard? Yeah. And it's also my girlfriend's favorite character in Nintendo. So.
It should always be covering its eyes because that's whatever you would see when you look at it anyway.
That's a good point.
But yeah, she had a nickname when she was a kid that is part. Her father called her Boo Girl, so she likes Boo as a result. So we have some Boo merchandise in the apartment. So I just picked it up for her. Mainly, it's sitting by the TV now. It's the only one on display, on major display. So, anyway, I'm pretty excited. I'm interested to hear which versions everybody's going to pick. I'm pretty sure I know everybody's pick, but I kind of want to hear the debate here. So, why don't you guys talk about it for a little bit?
All right, well, my only options... I mean, I plan on getting a Switch eventually, but right now my only options are PS4 and PC. PS4 is physical, and I've been playing on console anyway. If I can get a console version instead of PC, I will probably go for that. So, PS4 for me.
Probably PC for me, because that's what I've been playing all my games on. And that's what I was playing Dark Souls 3 on, so if I'm going to replay Dark Souls 1, I'd probably play it on PC.
Yeah, makes sense.
I usually go for the highest fidelity version, whatever one runs the best, and I know for sure that the PC version is going to be that. Maybe unless I had a PS4 Pro, it would be on par, but I know that the PC version won't be less than that. And I already have a fantastic graphics card, so I have a 1080 Ti, so I'm definitely going to go for that version. Plus, Retro Gamer wants to go through it with me, and I've never run through the game. So he kind of wants to do some co-op action with me. So
yeah, you're gonna love it, man. That game is a journey.
It's pretty cool to have somebody shepherd you through it or Sherpa you through it. So especially since it's a game with a lot of obscure stuff in it that you need to know in order to progress. So.
Well, not to progress, but if you want to do side stuff, that's stuff like some of it outright, like accessing the DLC at all. Like you need a guide. You're not figuring that shit out.
Yeah, I was watching because I never actually beat the first one. I was watching a video on some of the cool things about Dark Souls, and when they were talking about like some of the DLC or the hidden areas, I'm like, how could anyone have figured that out on their own?
Yeah, I mean, some of the hidden areas, you have a chance, just a slim one, but the DLC, there's no way. Like, I don't know how you would figure that out.
Actually, one of my friends posted on Facebook a beginner's guide to Dark Souls. He had like some bullet points, and he was just like, "Don't pick the key on your first run as your gift. Because like you're just gonna unlock areas that you're not equipped to deal with yet."
That's exactly why I picked the key. Like, I just so I could unlock stuff.
Well, you'll get to it eventually. So he said he told me, he told his friends only get that if you're going through a second playthrough or a third.
The funny thing with the key is that again, this would imply that you're going to an area you're not properly leveled for, but you can outright skip the depths if you have the key. Just not fight the gaping dragon. Just don't bother. Don't even have to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you should, but like, don't have to. If you're speedrunning, I guess take the key.
Yeah. And he also said, don't put anything into resistance. It's a useless stat.
Yes.
So he said, not figuratively, literally, it's a useless stat. So like, don't do that. Like the Souls games and Souls likes tend to have a stat that is kind of useless. And I'm glad that he told me that, because of course I would kind of
resistance is pointless, because like if something intends to poison you, then it will. Just suck it up or use a curative. Done. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, what in Bloodborne there's like stance or something and it does nothing, or was it Dark Souls 3?
Poise.
Poise. That was
Poise.
3. Dark Souls 3.
Poise actually does mean something in Dark Souls 1, but yeah, I heard in 3 like nobody could figure out what it meant.
It literally does nothing.
Oh. All right.
So anyway, I'm looking forward to this because unlike you guys are veterans compared to me. I still want to try to beat Demon Souls, but
Pyro's probably the most veteran of us, I think.
Yeah, I mean, God only knows.
I beat the crap out of the first 2 games, but I never played any of the others. And Pyro, you've played Dark 1, maybe not all of it, but you've played Dark 1, Dark 3, you played Bloodborne. Have you played 2?
I haven't played 2. I beat Bloodborne. I got I want to say either halfway or 3/4 through 3, and then I got to a boss where I just didn't feel like taking the time to learn his moveset, and I haven't played it in a while.
Sure.
In Dark Souls 1, I didn't get that far, like maybe a quarter into it. And then Demon Souls, I played I don't know how many levels, quote unquote, there are, but I played 3 of them.
Yeah. Demon Souls has 5 worlds, each with, I think it was 3 levels, except for World 1, which has 5.
Yeah, so that's how much I played. I mean, I'm looking forward to Dark Souls more because it's just cool that they're still making it. I mean, I'm looking forward to From Software's new game, which I'm actually hoping is Bloodborne 2, but I have a feeling it won't be.
Come on, Echo Knight 3. Actually, it'll be Echo Knight 4 now that I think about it.
Jumping Flash 4. I would
third?
actually love that.
Was there a third?
Yes.
Wow.
It was a Japan only.
There you go.
Exclusive.
Come on, Eternal Ring 2.
Nobody wants that.
Even I don't really want that.
Put your resources elsewhere, please.
Kingsfield 5, baby.
Ugh. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this, and I hope I'm glad that I'm getting in on this at the beginning. I'm gonna buy it right away and start playing it. So I'm very happy about that.
There is a chance I might actually try platinuming it, even though I've done that with the PS3 game. And the thing is, I let's played the first Dark Souls, but I didn't do the other ending. I didn't do the alternate cutscene with Sif, because that involves playing an entire another fucking game of Dark Souls. Like, come on.
Yeah,
but like with the remaster, I'm gonna be playing it anyway, so that might be my opportunity to grab unseen footage.
Yeah, I might try to play a little bit more Demon Souls while I'm at it.
Yeah.
That way I can go back and fight that fucking red dragon one more time.
That's so tedious. And I think I've mentioned this to you before, but if you thought the red dragon was tedious, there's one other dragon, and it's like...
The blue one, yeah.
More tedious.
I actually didn't mind fighting that one nearly as much.
You made it to the blue dragon?
Yeah, I killed it. The one that's just resting there, just like sitting there, resting and waiting
if you beat the blue dragon, then that means that you were like really close to beating the game.
I don't know.
There's no way you got that far, because you said you rage quit when you like used one of the wrong boss souls or something. Wait, you sure? Did the blue dragon you killed breathe electricity?
No.
Huh.
It was resting in the same place that the red dragon rests when it's not attacking you. They have a nest where they lay.
Oh, okay. Oh, if you killed it at the nest, that'd be one thing. Okay, now I'm thinking the part where you're quote supposed to fight it, because that's the most tedious, boring goddamn thing.
While it was resting at its nest, I fought it there.
Okay, that's a different story. Yeah, that's something I probably should have done, because that dragon sucks.
Well, apparently I fought it the right way then.
Even though it was the wrong way, that was absolutely
I
the
wonder
right
if
way.
it doesn't come back if you kill it there.
It doesn't.
No, it shouldn't.
That's funny, because like...
Yeah, no, because like endgame blue dragon is a bitch. Like, it's really frustrating.
I was going to say that's a Dark Souls sort of thing, where the boss is really hard, but hey, if you just kill it early on in the game, then lucky you.
That's a gimmick thing.
Yeah, like I found the place where they perch, like it's like on a cliff.
Yeah, it's there for a particular period in the game, but once you advance far enough, it's no longer there, and it's like in World 1-4, and it's so goddamn boring, because if you ever get within range of its fire breathing, you can deal with it, but it's really hard, so you should stay far away and fire arrows, and it takes about 1 trillion arrows.
Yeah, but like I was basically not in danger the whole time while I was fighting it.
Yeah, that's
like,
how to do it.
The perch, yeah.
So what'd you do? Like, you like a bow or something?
Well, I forget how I killed it, but I killed it pretty easily.
Because I think it's almost like a joke if you try approaching it, because it never faces you, and it just, if you get too close, it just whips its tail and just kills you.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how I went after it, and the reason why I was trying to kill it was to get the best shield in the game.
I forgot what shield it was, but it is really damn good. It was like the purple shield.
It's like a purple shield. It's like a purple shield.
Yeah, it's like a really good heat-resistant shield, I think.
It's better than all the other shields, like, very clearly, except that it's heavier.
Yeah, that sounds right. Like, there's only one other shield that I think I considered equipping, which was the Adjudicator shield, which has light regenerative properties, and you basically equip that plus a ring of regeneration, because when you go into the toxic swamp, don't even try not getting poisoned. Yeah. So like both healing properties combined slightly offset the poison rate. It's really annoying.
Poison. But anyway, excited once again. I think that's pretty much all we have to say about that. Mm-hmm. But when is that coming out? Do you guys know?
Really soon, the 25th. So by the time people listen to this podcast, tomorrow. I can't believe I said that twice now. Once on CoreCon, once on Recon. So I'm super hyped.
But, so much going on this week.
I'll react in a reactive soon after that. And,
it'll probably be a while before I start playing it, but I am hyped to start playing it.
The next thing that we wanted to go over was that Sony announced that they will stop production of physical Vita games for the United States, and
they're still going to produce Vita games, but digital only. So
and physical for Japan still.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I mean, I'm glad that it's still alive somehow. I mean, I am sad that Vita didn't have as much traction as I hoped it would, because I actually, out of all the handheld systems, I actually like Vita the most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and not only that, but like the way I play was with PSTV, like when you could just hook it up to your TV. But like a lot of Americans, I think, still don't even know the damn thing exists. Like it's like
Yeah.
they wanted it to die. Why? Like
They didn't advertise it.
yeah, maybe the
anything,
Vita would do better if you gave a damn about it. Like I don't understand what they're trying
also-
to do here.
It's also a streaming device. Like if you have a TV where you don't want to hook up your PS4 to, you could stream gameplay from your PS4.
I was gonna say that was like really
I
fun
forgot about
when I was
that.
playing Persona 5 and I had friends over and they wanted to watch TV and I was just streaming it on my Vita. I'm like, that was the first time I ever done that. I'm like, whoa, this is so cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah, it's a really neat device, and they also named it weird. They named it a PSTV in the United States. It was the PlayStation. It wasn't
like the Vita TV.
The Vita TV in Japan. It made a lot more sense. That's
Yeah,
what
the PlayStation TV. Like, what could this mean? What Sony product is this? But if you just call it the Vita, like, now you know immediately.
Yeah, it was really weird how they tried to market it.
Yeah, and even the people who sold it, like. It turns out the PSTV has a little compartment to accept Vita game cards, like for the physical games. But like even the people at GameStop weren't 100% on that because nobody knows anything about that freaking system. Like at first it was like, is it a digital only thing like the PSP Go? Maybe. So it's like the guy at the store actually opened the box and was like, let's find out. Like it had to come to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember when you and I were planning on buying it. We had a major. We had a. I didn't buy one until you told me that because like I was confused about it too.
Yeah.
So I mean. I'm glad I have one now, and I'm gonna hack the crap out of it pretty soon.
I'm very glad I have one now. It's so good. Like now I can play almost any Vita game I would like to.
Yeah. With that, I was going to say, I think very much, as much as I love the Vita, I think the Switch has replaced its purpose. And that was even before. I mean, even before the Switch came out, it really was just coming out with like ports of stuff that was already coming out elsewhere. Not that that's not a good thing in some regard, because you could play one of your favorite games on the go without much compromise, which was really nice. But I don't have a whole lot of opportunities to play things like that, and also not all the games had cross-save functionality with
that's right. You could buy a Vita version, or you could buy a PS3 version, or now a PS4 version, but only some were cross-compatible. Yeah,
you really had to do your research, and it was hard. It was difficult to find out what had cross-save and what didn't.
Yeah, I think in a lot of cases you just had to go to the store and look at the back of the box and see if it would tell you.
Yeah, which is annoying.
Yeah, it is.
So the Switch eliminates that entire problem altogether. You don't have to buy two different versions of the same
a Switch game is a Switch game. It is portable. It is not. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's why I love the concept of the Vita, and that's why I was a champion of the Vita for a really long time. I love doing that. I love doing the transfarring thing, with
Peace Walker.
Peace Walker. I love doing that.
Transfarring.
The Dragon's Crown thing was pretty fun, transferring from copy to copy. I was even happy to buy 2 copies of that game because I'm a ridiculous person. but eventually it got to the point where very few exclusives that mattered were coming out for that system. I'm not into Otome games in the slightest, and there's like a lot of Otome visual novels. I mean, if that's your thing, that's cool.
The Vita at this point is basically a visual novel system. Like, there are lots of games that aren't that, but it's kind of become that. And before that point, it was the system, like it was like the Persona 4 Golden system.
Yeah, and it pretty much still is. Now,
like, there's an insane amount of games, but like nobody knows what they are.
Yeah,
even at GameStop, they have like 10 Vita games at any given time on the shelves. It's like nobody knows.
And I don't even know why, like, people. I don't know if it's because they didn't advertise it enough, or the reason why Vita didn't do that well. But I mean,
it should have too.
At least
it should have.
I had to say that I am happy that my favorite series is what it's known for, that system. But one thing that annoys me, like this, a little bit of tangent with the Persona and Mega 10 games though, is they always release it on like different systems. Mega 10 5 is coming out on the Switch, and I'm like, are you serious? I'm gonna have to buy. I know that I don't have to buy a Switch, but I have to buy a Switch to play.
Well, I've made on
3DS, so it just makes sense.
It's a natural progression. No, I've made this joke before, but like when you can get a fan translated version of it, you should get that one SMT game on the original Xbox.
9. Yeah, it was
SMT
9. Yeah. It was originally going to be an online game, and it didn't pan out.
Oh wow!
I think So I would say that like I think the Vita had a much longer life than I thought it would have. I mean, it's still alive technically.
Yeah, it's still going, but a shadow of its former self.
But I haven't bought a game for it in a very long time, and I was a fan. Now. That's mostly because, I just haven't found a need to buy anything like that.
You know what's kind of sad is that, like, I haven't looked this up or anything, but at this point I'd be willing to bet that a surprising percentage of the Vita's physical, not library, but physical library probably comes from limited run games.
Yeah, a very large portion of it comes from NIS and limited run games at this point. And the limited run games that have come out for it really have been ports of their bigger brothers on PC or PS4.
True.
So the system just isn't for me anymore because I just don't want to play. Basically, I have the system for PSP games that I still like playing.
Yeah.
And, things like Final Fantasy IV Complete, one of the best remakes ever that never got ported to anything else for some goddamn reason. Final Fantasy Tactics has an amazing version on PSP.
Not really, because it slows down a lot during casting animations.
Well, there is a fan hacked version.
Yeah, I know that.
Fixes it all.
But you shouldn't have to hack it. Like the base game itself is worse than the PlayStation version, as long as you still have a PlayStation. But yes,
the translation's better.
Yes,
though.
It's way better.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just gonna keep my Vita TV around for the few exclusives that I know that I'm gonna play on it, like or the system, you have Uncharted.
No. You can keep your Vita for that, but not your Vita TV.
That's what I meant. Yeah. That's what I meant. My Vita. I'll have that for Uncharted. I'll have it for Persona 4 Golden, which I'm. Why haven't they ported that to something else?
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Like, what the hell? Like, why didn't they port that to PS4? What is the problem?
There's a lot of things that I wish that Atlas would do with their Persona and Mega 10 games, but they don't. Like, once they usually release it on a system, like, it was even a surprise when they re-released Persona 2 and 1 on Vita, or PSP, I would say. And now the thing is that they've released all them there, and Vita's dying. So, in a way, I could see Atlas saying, what's the point of porting these things? Yeah, it's the systems if we're not going to know if they're going to survive. I mean, I would love all those systems, all the games they ever made to be on like one system. But when would they do that? Because it takes a lot of work. And then there's always going to be new systems. The only way that they could do that, which cross my fingers they would do, is if they released them for PC.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, your mention of Uncharted brought me back to something. This is something that really bugs me about the PS TV, is that Uncharted Golden Abyss is not compatible with the PS TV because there are a couple of parts in the game where they make use of the
screen and
not even the touch. With the PS TV, you can it's clunky as hell, but you could compensate for the touch screen by pressing in the joysticks, like the L3 and R3. You get little hand icons, so like it's vastly inferior, but you can make it work. But what is not compensated for is the motions. I don't know how relevant that is. Like when is the camera used?
Oh, I don't know. There are a couple games that use the camera. I was just guessing.
Whatever. But no, I'm talking about like Uncharted Golden Abyss and like Monkey Ball on the Vita, like the motion sensors when you tilt the Vita, like the original Gravity Rush. Now they did port Gravity Rush to PS4, but they must have altered something in the game because obviously it wouldn't make sense with motion controls because the PlayStation 4, you don't pick that up and tilt it around. But what really bugs me is that this could have been dealt with because the PS3 and the PS4 controllers have that 6-axis thing where you move the controller around.
Sure.
Why the hell does the PS TV not allow that? Like, it's right there. Like, if it allowed that... Yeah, like, if it allowed that, then I could play Golden Abyss. Like, Golden Abyss is literally unbeatable because I don't have that ability. I saw someone online had said that, like, it's little segments where you have to walk carefully across a log and you're balancing and you're like, whoa, whoa, and you have to, like, tilt the Vita to balance yourself. I saw on YouTube, like, from the very start of the log or whatever, if you jump at just the right time, you can make it across, but, like, there's one area where you just can't, so the game's unbeatable for me. It's really frustrating.
Wow. You can just stick it in my Vita real quick and then do it.
Well, no, that's actually another thing. I can't do that, and because this is a serious dick move. This screwed me over before. If I put it into your Vita, like, you know how there was a hack that was released for the PS TV a few years back, where you could play games you weren't supposed to, like Uncharted Golden Abyss.
Yeah.
If I were to quickly take my copy of Uncharted out of my PS TV, be like, hey Vice, can I use your Vita for like literally 1 minute and go through the log part? No, that they updated firmware that I think puts something on the memory card. So if you put your memory card back into the PS TV, which has not had its firmware updated, it'll read your Vice, your what I assume is current firmware Vita, and it'll say, oh, you need to update your PS TV in order to make this card work. And if I do that, that kills the mod. So it's like, go fuck yourself, Sony.
Well, anyway, there's also Persona 4 Dancing All Night, which is another Vita exclusive.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if they're gonna port that to like PS4, since the other two dancing games are gonna be on PS4.
Actually, I think they might, because I saw a pre-order for the Japanese like super collector's edition of 3 and 5 dancing, but it said it was a triple pack. And I'm like, what? And it said it was a digital download of the PS4 for Dancing All Night. So I think
now that I think about it, it already was out for PS4.
Oh, it was? Okay, well, there you go.
Like, those feel like more portable games than, like, PS4 games. I played shit tons of hours of Dancing All Night on my Vita. I have a feeling I won't play them nearly as much on the PS4.
Sure.
No, I can see that, because when you're out and about, you're like, yeah, let me break out my system real quick. But when you're sitting at home, maybe you want to play Final Fantasy 14 or something.
Not even just that. It's just like a rhythm game I would like to have in my hands.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Let me see here. And Muramasa, without the motion controls. So
yeah.
Essentially, you and Silent Hill, I guess, if you want that. So
yes, I'm a Book of Memories.
Book of Memories.
So far, I've been able to play it, but that game uses touchscreen a lot. Like, to pick up a weapon, it uses touchscreen. So I've made it work, but it's like, I hope this game doesn't get really hard, because it's going to be clunky to get anything done.
Yeah, and going along with that, there's an exclusive Katamari game as well that you basically need to use 2 fingers all the time because you need to stretch it. Like that's
like you could use the touchscreen controls, but you won't beat the level with it. Like, you can, but you won't.
It's called Touch My Katamari, so it's obviously supposed to be a touchscreen game.
Yeah,
so.
If the whole game's touchscreen based, then even though the PS TV can do touchscreen controls, you're out of luck. Use an actual Vita.
It's supposed to be in there for a pinch, not like...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, like... I just gave you all of the exclusives you would need a Vita for.
Pretty much, yeah. A lot of that stuff has been ported, and a lot of it's even on PC. Like, I stream... everything else
that is very good.
I was already saying, I streamed Yomawari Night Alone on the Vita, but that's been on Steam PC for a while.
Yeah. So the big games for me were the Danganronpa games, and those were ported.
Those were ported to PC and PS4.
Yeah, those were originally PSP games, both the first 2 games.
Although I will say this, from what Pyro has told me, Danganronpa 2 might be, to a degree, unique on the Vita, because you have that character Gundam Tanaka, where they call him Gundam and not like. I forgot if it was either you or if it was Old Man Stompy who told me that in later versions of the game they called him like Tanaka of the Forbidden Name because it's Gundam.
Yeah. So I think that it was a great system, but I know this is kind of like a post-mortem almost, even though the system is not completely
It's not post-mortem,
dead.
But
it kind of is.
Yeah, it's got one foot in the grave.
It kind of is. I can't wait to hack the crap out of it. I still haven't hacked my my PS TV.
Yeah, I would
just
like
so
to
I
do
can
that.
put up every great. There's actually more PSP exclusives. To want to play on on the PS TV.
Yeah,
so,
I still want to play Valkyria Chronicles 2, for example.
Yeah, Valkyria Chronicles 3 with a English translation.
Please. And that game is ready too, just not the DLC.
Well, no. They the English translation that the fan translation that came out includes the DLC.
They actually translated the DLC now.
Oh yeah, and they give you the DLC when you download it.
That's funny. But like, if they actually translated the DLC, then that would be wonderful. Because I've been checking every once in a while, and it's just never. I've never seen a thing that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's been complete for a little while.
Okay. That's wonderful.
Yeah. There are a lot of PSP games. I could go on and on about PSP. There's plenty of exclusives that
Metal Gear Acid
2. There's Portable Ops.
Acid and Acid 2, you would need to use the hack to put them on, but Portable Ops you could actually buy on the store, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. No, well, I'm just talking about PSP games in general that you would want to put on this thing.
Sure.
But there are plenty. There's just so much. There's Brandish on PSP.
You know what's kind of funny is this is only for a specific version of firmware, so a lot of people can't do it today. But there was a hack that specifically allowed you to use an adapter in the SD card slot, so you could use a regular SD card, which is super funny.
No, they I think you could still do that now.
That's funny, because I don't want to spend... Like, number one, you can't even get Vita cards at the store anymore. Like, you pretty much have to get them online. Yeah. And number two, they're stupidly expensive because they're obnoxious proprietary software. Let me just buy a fucking SanDisk for, like, $50 or whatever, with as much memory as I want.
Yeah, I have a 64 gig, and that's a rarity.
Yeah, and it's expensive. It's one of those things
where
you're like...
$100.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the logic is you're only going to buy it once, but, like, fuck you, man. Let me use a SanDisk like I can on the Switch allows just SanDisk, right?
Yeah, and pretty much everything did. You could get an adapter for your PSP too, for the Duo memory stick Duo that was proprietary at the time. So and you didn't even need to hack it to use it. So nice. It was pretty great.
Good times.
But yeah, I mean, I think I'll do maybe even a reaction to when I build up my super library once my Vita TV is hacked to crap.
Yeah, let me know when you're ready with that, by the way.
Yeah, I tend to be like a librarian when it comes to these kinds of things. Once something becomes dead, I love it, because then that's when the fun for me happens. That's when all the collecting of all the best and the curating comes in.
Yeah.
But I don't even know of any Vita games that are on their way out that I'm looking forward to, or anything like that. Like, it's just like it's a dead system to me.
Again, limited run, signature edition, companies like that. I'll be like, I have a box copy for you, I guess. But like, yeah, like games that are coming out for the first time though on the Vita, like I don't know.
Yeah. So this one, I think you have a little bit more to say on because
this came up pretty recently.
Yeah, and I have some thoughts about this, but please go right ahead.
So here's the deal. Maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't, but all of a sudden, a bunch of games on Steam are getting taken off. They're getting warnings that, like, by the end of the month, they're going to be removed from Steam. Mm-hmm. And these games are largely considered not safe for work. It's stuff like that involves kind of porn content, like Honey Pop or things like that. And I'll go more into detail about specifics, but like there's also some stuff that doesn't even fall into that, like Freedom Planet. It's like somebody saw like
Freedom Planet?
Did they think it was like a furry game?
Yeah, it's like furry porn, whatever. It's all the same. It's creepy. I don't want it. Now here's the thing, though.
Freedom Planet has nothing objectionable in it.
No, not that I'm aware of. Yeah, but no. So here, but yeah. So it's just hidden games like this. Now here's the thing. Here was context, because I didn't know why it was happening. I thought it was a Steam decision, and it's not really. So
did they like update their algorithm or something?
No. Here's what happened. Now what I'm about to say is not from me. Like, I'm reading somebody else's words in a forum who explained this better than I would. So what I'm about to read is a quote. But here's what happened. I'm reading forum posts now. The U.S. legislature has been trying to pass a law that would make websites and services responsible if someone uses them in, like, sex trafficking. Think of, like, child porn and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, you know how to help stop poaching, like, elephants? It's hard to go after poachers. So you instead slam the companies that they would sell their ivory to. Yeah, so the poachers will have less reason to poach because the people who sell their stuff, even though they didn't do anything wrong, are getting punished for it. So that's the logic. So so according to the forum post, there's a lot wrong with the law, but that's not relevant to this conversation here. Basically, yeah, it's like so you know, like, child porn websites, like, if you buy child porn, you're not the ones who, I mean, forgetting that it's illegal anyway, you're not the ones who, like, put the kids into these horrible situations, but you're perpetuating the business that does that. So you're punished too. That's the logic behind it. So websites and services that might indirectly be responsible for, quote, sex trafficking will be hit by this. So what does this mean? Well, websites like Craigslist and PayPal have been trying to get ahead of it, changing their rules. Like, Craigslist banned their personal ads, for example. And PayPal doesn't want their service used for pornographic material, so anti-porn groups found a way to apply pressure. So PayPal, because they don't want to get in trouble for this shit, PayPal is telling Valve no porn games, and thus Valve is cracking down on visual novels, sometimes indiscriminately. Now, again, I know there are contradictions to this. I'll get to it. Now, I'm going to finish reading the forum post first. Honestly, it's likely nothing will happen. And here's probably what you were going to say already, but most of the games don't have explicit porn. Like, Steam usually has censored versions of these games, like Honey Pop and things like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Usually you would have to download a separate patch for that kind of stuff. So they told the devs to cover up what they already are, but that's why Steam's kind of overcompensating. What I find personally interesting, though, is that stuff like, I guess it's not, I was going to mention Mass Effect, but they don't really show the nudity, but The Witcher, as far as I know, has not been affected. It seems that these anti-porn groups are going after, I think, those that they feel they could get away with going after, like some person who made stuff. Like Honey Pop is a pretty indie game, you know. I think they actually had a Kickstarter for their second game, stuff like that. And Freedom Planet's also, like, not a AAA game. So now here's the thing. To be fair, the law kicking off this overreaction is about actual sex trafficking. It was never intended to target video games specifically. That's not really relevant. It's just that the companies that you might funnel money through, like, if I want to buy child porn and I'll pay for it with PayPal, PayPal's like, nope, not touching this at all. So PayPal's like, I'm not going to touch porn with a 10-foot fucking pole, so if you have porn, get rid of that shit right now. So Steam's like, okay. What I find ironic is that GOG seems to be unaffected, and I use PayPal for GOG, so I don't even fucking know. Like, GOG has uncensored Honey Pop, for example. I don't fucking know. But anyway, the law itself, this is not prudish. Sex slavery, sex trafficking is bad. I don't think anyone's going to argue that, but it's got, like, legal repercussions that you can interpret to apply to certain kinds of games and stuff like that. So it's about certain groups taking advantage of this legislation to cause trouble on the internet. Like, I saw a post from some, like, pornography activist group saying it was, like, this victory that they got these kinds of things off of Steam or whatever, but, like, I'm pretty sure that I already used this expression on CoreCon, but they're not seeing the forest for the trees. Porn is not rape. I mean, again, child porn was already illegal across the board. I'm not talking about that. Porn in general is not rape. It's people doing a fucking job. Like, there's no harm to it. And if you pay to watch porn, I don't know if your girlfriend or your wife is going to like it, but, like, again, that's not furthering sex trafficking.
For
like,
a lot of people, it's a positive thing
Yeah,
too.
like, now
it's something that they enjoy.
Now, I am aware that there are pornographic institutions that actually do involve sex trafficking. And in fact, games like Yakuza cover that a bunch, where they mention like Yakuza will just like snatch people away and put them into stuff like that. So like that, yes, that is a thing, but like that's not generally what porn is. Like Pornhub, for example, I don't think touches that shit, and it's like one of the biggest porn things on the internet. So going back to the law itself has nothing to do with games in the slightest. Again, it's like the ivory trade. I know you didn't do anything wrong, but I'm going to punish you, so the actual bad guys aren't going to deal with you, giving them less incentive to act. So the law is about making online websites and services responsible for sex trafficking that are done on them. It's kind of like, you know how if you make a website and you allow ad banners to be on it, but what if one of those ad banners has a virus on it? You weren't paying attention. Well, it's your site. Shouldn't you have been paying attention? Now I'm mad at you. You know, even though you're not the person whose ad that is. You know, that kind of thing. It's kind of like that big Facebook data slip up with Cambridge Analytica, I think, where Mark Zuckerberg was getting the third degree for like how come Facebook wasn't on top of this, and it's like, how big is Facebook and how much shit did it catch? But I mean, still, it let that one thing slide, so now everyone's mad at Facebook. That's what this is. So PayPal's like, I don't want to get in trouble for this shit, so like, Steam, get your porn out of here so I don't get in trouble for this shit. And Steam's like, what? Well, okay. So now a lot of Steam users, because Steam's way more popular than GOG, a lot of Steam users are getting mad because whatever visual novel stuff, and again, some stuff that isn't actually porn, but whatever, I can't tell the difference, like Freedom Planet, that stuff is going to get removed. So this is having
really funny about this whole thing is there's no trafficking involved at all. These are all digital representations, like, created by people.
Yeah,
like,
but again, PayPal said they
mean?
Don't want to have porn. But it said PayPal doesn't want their service used for pornographic material, so that's more of a PayPal thing. Like, nobody thought Steam was doing that weird shit, but yeah.
It's weird. A lot of these things are drawings and, like, 3D renders of things. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous.
That's the thing. So it's saying that's having a cascading effect as businesses try to make themselves less liable. Anti-porn advocates are using it to scare PayPal and the like into banning porn. So again, it's basically misunderstanding of an activist group, which leads to misunderstanding of groups like PayPal who are like, what? Oh, I don't want to get involved in this, which leads to negative repercussions in ways that should not be relevant to the actual issue at hand. Now I'm done reading the forum posts, by the way. So like, I've been going back and forth between forum posts and me, but now I'm done reading other people's writing. So that's basically the long and short of it. So if you want your Honey Pop or whatever other game, buy it now. If you don't, then I guess GOG, I don't know what to tell you. Or if the devs have their own website, we could buy it directly. I guess there's that too. I mean, or buy your stuff through Steam with a fucking write a check and mail it.
GOG has this is going to have the same problem because they're also a vendor that uses PayPal.
Maybe it will, but Steam's the only one who seems to have gotten heat from it. I haven't heard anything about GOG.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, like, logically, yeah, duh, but, like, I haven't heard anything on GOG's end, so, like, I don't know. Maybe they're just going after Steam because it's like, well, Steam's big. Or, no, you know what it probably is? Once again, PayPal was probably like, I know what Steam is. Let's talk about Steam, because Steam's gigantic. Again, GOG is big, but it's not Steam big, so that's probably what it was. Again, misunderstanding on, like, every level. So, basically, this is coming from a law which actually does have good and proper intentions, but you know how America is with legislation. Once something is in writing, you're like, well, doesn't that mean it applies to this? And it cascades from there.
Yeah, and the thing is, until there is a like a court case where like a judge finally puts a ruling and says, no, like it doesn't apply to this. Like it's not going. Well, no,
that was the thing. I can think of a reverse. Yeah. I can think of a reverse case of this where I remember there was going to be legislation that banned. It was something like, maybe it was YouTube reading, I forgot what it was, but it was something like digital versions of books or reading books out loud on YouTube or whatever, and you can't do this. And someone was like, wait a minute, wouldn't then it be illegal to literally sit in front of a group of kids and read a book out loud? Mm-hmm. And they were like, yeah, wait, that doesn't make sense. So this is what this seems to be right now. Yeah. Like, you're going after fucking Freedom Planet? Like, that's not even... Like, I mean, the Honey Pop thing, it's like, dude, come on. But Freedom Planet, it's like, you're wrong.
So the
like,
thing
what is
like, that's part of how the system works in a way that a law is made, people push the boundaries
and
until
then people realize what it means.
The actual law is. But that only works if people understand the topics. Like with your book reading example, like, the people who are passing laws would understand that. But people who are passing laws don't understand
everyone in
games.
Congress and courtrooms is like 50 plus years old, and they're like, oh, these weird computer games. I don't fucking know. You guys are all weird.
When you have to think about how they needed Mark Zuckerberg, granted whether or not he's a good or bad guy, to have to explain how the internet works, stuff like that, is just like, these people are making our laws.
That was the thing that was cringy about that whole. I think he had 2 hearings, and one of them was better than the other. But in one of them, you could tell that the senators literally did not understand the questions they were asking to him. People told him, like, this is what you're gonna want to grill him. So like, they literally didn't know what they were talking about. It's like, this is a fucking farce. Like, can we get someone who knows what they're talking about to talk to Zuckerberg, please? Because this is just embarrassing to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think. I think it's a shame. I do think that for a while there, it was good because, like, little games like this were finally getting out there and into a mainstream place where they're not stigmatized.
Yeah.
I think there's some positive stuff. Of course, there's some negative stuff. There's also been some times when I've gone on Steam and the only new releases for 3 weeks has been like tons of these games.
And visual novels in general. All of a sudden, there was like a spike for like oh jeez, I can't even think of stuff. But there's that one game I saw the Game Grumps play where like you're a character going to Japan and you're staying with 2 girls and we'll see where this goes. And it wasn't even a porn game. It was just like just cheese, but that was it. It's like games like that were just everywhere for like a few years ago. There was like this big spike of those.
Now I'm a fan of people being able to buy that stuff. Like I it's not my thing. I'm into the type of visual novel where it's horror themed. Like I want a horror visual novel, or like something that tells like a really cool sci-fi story. Like Steins Gate or Snatcher, or even a murder story like Higurashi.
But that's my whole thing though, is that like unless it's clearly harming someone, I figure it's better to have the option than not to. The sad thing is this anti-porn group does believe that there's actual harm, but like sex trafficking, duh. But the anti-porn group is just anti-porn, and it's like I'm not even sure, even though that's what you frame your whole existence around, I'm still not sure that you understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're people that clearly like
you're watching two fucking actors act. Like, all right,
they're people that are clearly casting a negative light on something they barely know anything about. And
well, I mean, porn's had a negative light on it since the very beginning. Same goes with prostitution. Like, I mean, granted, there are seedy versions of that. There are cases where, like, you have awful. I was about to say Johns, awful pimps, or like again, there are shady porn things that like grab people against their will. Like that is a thing, but like that is by far the exception and not the rule.
Yeah, people just like to assume that everything is like this one bad thing.
I don't like it. I think it's gross. Therefore, no one should have it.
Have any of it. Yeah.
So, I think we're all on the same end here. It's a big shame. I just hope that there is a place where these things can land, that where people could still buy them, because before you kind of had to buy them piecemeal from. Like,
I was just gonna say,
websites.
You could always buy them for the developers' websites, but like. Again, it's like YouTube or it's like Steam. When you go to the front page, you'll get hit with like, here's some new video that might be relevant to your interests. So like, if you don't already know about the game from the developer, then it'll be a lot harder to find without a page like Steam showing it off when it comes out.
Yeah. Here's the thing: you would need like a website that was dedicated, that was made by fans in order to curate this kind of stuff for you. That would be number one. Number two, you would also need like every single website having its own store is not as good as a single place where you could buy it. Like,
no,
you know that
obnoxious.
you could trace, you could trust your personal information with a big company like Steam, because they have a huge interest in protecting you.
Yeah.
However, you go to a little developer's website, where you buy the one game that you like the artwork in, and you have to give them your credit card information in order to do it. It stinks because you don't know if you're at a trustworthy website. You can only go on word of mouth.
Well, no, the thing with those people is usually they probably are trustworthy. The thing I would call into question is whether they have the degree of security that Steam does. If something happens with Steam, like because if something goes wrong with Steam, like you get like a message immediately, or like with PayPal. Did you do this on PayPal? No, I didn't. Get that shit resolved in like 10 minutes. But with some guy's website, you're kind of on your own. They don't have a network.
Yeah, and that's what I was actually getting at again. See, in using PayPal, I know PayPal is not a perfect company. I know they do a lot of jerky things. Yeah. But from the consumer
what company doesn't?
Yes, that you
the ones
are right.
that are the ones that are too small to get away with it.
But what I'm trying to say is I use PayPal specifically because I know almost every place that I shop will use it besides Amazon. That's one of the big exceptions because they have their own payment service. However, what's good about it is I only need to give my personal information to one place.
Yeah.
One place. So it minimizes my potential damage, right? Like only they're the one place that would need to get hit rather than, 50
go find
websites.
Where. Well, yeah, you know what it's like. It's like if you've ever had your credit card misused.
Exactly.
And
that's
you get
what
a
I'm
call.
trying to say.
But like you get a call from your bank, and again, your bank's probably good for it, but at the same time, you're going back and looking through your credit card history, and you're like, where could I have gone where some guy was shady?
Yeah.
Was it when I got gas? Was it when I was at the supermarket? Like, I understand that I'm going to get my money back, but where did this happen so I know not to shop there anymore? I bought 100 things with my credit card. How do I narrow this down? Like, now then you got to start guessing. Like, well, I've shopped at this place 10 times. I don't think it was them because it hasn't been a problem in the past. It's really frustrating. With PayPal, it's a non-issue. If there's a PayPal problem, you fix it with PayPal. And that's kind of it.
Yeah. So, once again, I hope this issue gets resolved in some way, or
it probably will, but it's gonna suck until it does. And once again, I do want to remind everybody, the irony of this is that even the games on Steam that are porn, I don't think Steam really does porn games, but the games on Steam that have porn in them, they're censored. Like, they were censored the whole time.
Yeah.
Like,
they're pretty innocuous on their own.
Yeah, like, again, you can download a patch to uncensor them, but that's you. Like, Steam has censored games. You're not going to see anything. Like, so that this whole thing is, again, it's not like, oh no, Steam has this problem with porn games. They were never at fault. I think it's just a case of trying to wait until somebody makes it clear that they were not at fault, so this gets undone.
Yeah.
Like, we all know, but the people who matter don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, having said that, I think we explored that pretty well. The only other thing I wanted to mention quickly is I'm pretty excited for the new Too Many Games convention coming up in June.
Yeah, like a month. Like it's the 22nd, right? 22, 23, 24?
Yeah, so let me double check that. Give me a quick second. Yeah, 23rd is the Saturday, but it starts on the 22nd, which is the Friday. Yeah. So I am planning to be there. I know Lotus is planning to be there. I don't know whether you have any interest in coming, Pyro. You've gone in past years.
I've gone in past years, and I think I'm waiting for it to mature a little bit more before I try it out again.
Well, actually, no, I was going to mention that, Pyro. When's the last time you went? Because I remember when I took you...
I think 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, because I was going to say, when I took you personally, that was when it was a really young con, and you're like, okay, you kind of show up there for a couple of hours. I remember, the gaming area was 3 TVs or whatever, but it really has grown since then. I mean, I still see it personally as a gigantic dealer's room, and that's precisely why I like going. But it has panels. It has a larger gaming area. They're going to have some tournaments and stuff like that. So it's definitely a different... Like, if you look at the con last year, and you look at it again from like 4 or 5 years ago, it's like not even close. Like it's definitely changed.
And what I was going to bring up to you is I live 15 minutes away from it now.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty cool.
It would be a very easy way for excuse for you to come down to visit. And you could we can even hang out at my place before or after, or you could even spend the weekend or whatever. So I did want to mention this because who knows, maybe even some of our fans will show up and we can even do a quick little meetup. That would be pretty neat. So
absolutely.
I'm just putting feelers out there. If you are going to be in the Philadelphia area for June 23rd is the day that we're going specifically.
Yeah, the actual city is Oaks, but it's like right around Philly.
That's why I said the Philadelphia area.
Yeah.
It's literally at a place called the Greater Philadelphia Convention Center. So that's why I said that.
Yeah.
If you live in the Philadelphia area or are coming to the Philadelphia area during that time, we would love to meet up with some of our fans. In fact, we met a couple fans down in MagFest last.
Yeah, it's happened. It's pretty rad.
MagFest. Yeah. So, wow, the real Lotus Prince.
Yeah, whoa. Can I touch him?
He even wears the same Alice t-shirt in real life.
With full articulation.
But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it this year. I didn't get a chance to go last year very suddenly, so this year I have it all worked out, so it's really nice. But very much looking forward to it. I have a couple games that I'm going to be searching around for, and I think I might buy a couple newer versions of flash carts that I have. A couple EverDrives have been up.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, Stone Age Gamer does show up to too many games. And Stone Age Gamer is the company, for those who don't know, Stone Age Gamer is the company that produces most flash carts, and usually the best ones.
Well, they sell them and also create packaging and shells for a lot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they don't make them themselves, but they buy them from those who do. Excuse me.
Yeah, they're one of the best distributors. They kind of make their own versions of those products, but they streamline them and make them look really good.
Yeah, they do. They have like a Genesis-looking box for the Genesis cartridge. If you're into that, so you can put an extra Genesis games on your shelf. Like you don't need it, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'd rather have it than a bare cartridge that I have to like chop up a cartridge, a cartridge casing in order to,
Yeah, they do sell literally like the bare thing, or you can have it as an actual cartridge, or with the box and manual. It's like, hey, so you have your options.
Yeah, their versions are really cool. They even have custom versions of all of those cartridges now.
Oh yeah, you could choose the colors of the screws in the cartridges. Like you could really micromanage
neat
it.
Stuff.
Wow.
Yeah,
yes,
really
yeah, for
stuff.
real. Like if you ever go to their site, even if you don't plan to buy, just go to the customization options and look what you could do. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, you can get all kinds of like really neat looking things and make it look good. They're really nice guys on top of it. They have some of the best customer service.
I've seen Vice talk to them in person at one of the other too many games. They seem really cool people.
I had a problem with my SD to SNES one time, and they pretty much, it wasn't their fault, but they replaced the entire remember when I was having problems with the sound? My SD to SNES, and it had extremely garbled sound when trying to
play. I do remember that, yeah.
Like the CD soundtracks.
Yes.
For Donkey Kong Country 2 in
yes.
particular. So they replaced the whole board for free, and that's not cheap. It was like a $200 item. So,
and I also remember when you were talking to one of the guys in person, I think he actually remembered you as like one of their customers. It was either that or some other thing you had talked about buying from them. So like they really pay attention, and they're super cool people.
Yeah, I definitely recommend them. They may be more expensive than buying straight from the people who make them, but the way that they distribute them and put them in the presentation of those things is well worth the money, if you ask me.
Yeah, and not to mention that because they're a business, they can get away with stuff like Black Friday sales and things like that, because they have those, and some other holiday sales sometimes. So you know, it's cool to get on. Like, again, yeah, it is more expensive than buying from the source, but they have their customization options to give you more incentive to go to them. And it's just cool to show support to a company that actually cares.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're also closer than a lot of the distributors of these things. For instance, they distribute the Neo SD, which is the Neo Geo SD solution, the Neo Geo flash card. You would normally have to buy that from a place in Spain that does not take PayPal or anything. So you have to put in your credit card, and man, was it a bitch getting my bank to accept that because they're like, you want to buy something from Spain? Yeah, fucking right. That is definitely somebody stealing your credit card. And it was like, no, I'm trying to buy some weird shit from a guy.
Well, no, Spain. I mean, I had that happen once, but it wasn't a big deal. Like, I just called like that happened to me when I tried buying something from the Behar Bros from Turkey.
They're from
Turkey. I immediately got slammed, but I was able to like. On one case, I just called the bank up and I was like, no, we're good, and that was it. But for the Behar Bros, I think there was even an online option. Like, did you do this? Yes. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well, this one was way harder than any other one that I've ever done. Now, Stone Age Gamer distributes that, and they also don't have like a case for it. Like if you buy it, they give you, of course, you know, the full cartridge, you know, with a shell and everything. But they don't give you a case to store it in. Where if you go with Stone Age Gamers, they have like a really nice label on it.
Oh yeah. Once again, you have a more professional looking product and a case if you want. Oh, not to mention this is another thing. This isn't Stone Age Gamer in general. This is more specifically at Too Many Games, but especially regarding the Neo Geo cartridge.
Yeah.
Neo Geo's fucking big. A Neo Geo cartridge is fucking big. If you just buy them from the guy, that's actually a noticeable amount of shipping you're going to save on.
Yeah, good point.
It's like if you go to a store and buy an Xbox. I do not want to buy an Xbox on eBay. Like, that'll cost more than the actual Xbox to ship it.
Yeah. Well,
at this point, anyway.
We've kind of veered off the rails. I think we should wrap up here. We've gone over our topics, but we will catch you next week on Tuesday. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. Please, while there, give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Tuesday on our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the podcast about our lives and pop culture. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on Steam, PSN, Xbox Live, Twitter, your mom.
You can find me... Whoa. Low blow, Vice.
No, I meant your mom.
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's worse. Okay, you can find me...
I meant Switch and Battle.net.
Oh.
I usually say your mom when I'm talking about those two things, too.
Yeah, how did I miss this? How embarrassing. Anyway, you could find me. I don't have a Switch, so I can't even say your mom. It doesn't make sense. So you could follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, or even selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
And you can find me as PyroJackFrost or Cloudaway540s on all of the same places that I've said the past few times I've been on.
Awesome. Catch you on Tuesday, everybody.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye, everybody.